Hello everyone and welcome. My name's Joni and this is Joni Loves Stitching. This is a Flosstube channel and this is my first episode, so thank you so much for checking me out. Because it's my first episode, I'm sure it will be very awkward, a little bit babbly, and a little bit off kilter, but that's okay, right? Practice makes perfect and hopefully I'll get there. I don't want to babble too much. So I'm just gonna hop right into an intro. I have notes and I'm just gonna follow them this time. Hopefully you don't mind. Like I said, this is Flosstube. I will have primarily stitching, but like many other Flosstubers, I do multiple crafts. I quilt and I knit as well. So they will be in here from time to time. I quilt. But like Olivia from Pumpkin Hollow Stitches, I'll check that out. I'm going to do what she does and stick anything I might be talking about other than stitching at the end of the episode. I will let you know when it is time for me to switch to that. So you have a chance to turn it off if that doesn't appeal to you. I also want to apologize because it looks like I'm looking away from the camera when I typically talk using my phone. I'm talking to my husband on FaceTime, and so I'm busy looking at the screen at his beautiful face and not at the camera. And now I know what he sees, and he does not see me looking at him. Oh well. At any rate, the reason I mentioned that was because I will try to be good about looking at the camera, but if my guy's viewers, I just want to apologize. I will work on it. Now, as I said, I was going to follow my notes, and I totally veered off. So after your intro, I have written down getting to know your stitcher. So real quick, before I get into actually showing you what I have been stitching on recently, I'm going to do the get to know your stitcher hashtag, so you guys can know a bit about me, the random chick talking to you on your screen. Okay, so I have notes. And I'm literally just gonna read right through them and answer the questions. So the first one is, where do you live? I live in Northern Virginia in Manassas. The part of Manassas that I live in is a little bit off the beaten path by a lake and back in the woods. But it's definitely part of the rat race that is Northern Virginia, DC metro area. What do you do for a living? I'm a stay-at-home mom. So take care of the kid, take care of the husband, take care of the dogs, the house, go to the gym, volunteer. Yeah, no profession to speak of whatsoever. Do you have any children? I do. I have one child, a little boy who is in elementary school and pretty much the center of our universe. Do you have any pets? I have more pets than I have kids. We have 3 dogs, 2 St. Bernards, and a little pitty mutt, as well as a guinea pig. If you hear, excuse me, if you hear barking or shuffling around or anything, it's because they are out of the crates right now. They're quieter when they're out than when they're in. So, what are your favorite hobbies aside from stitching? Like I said, I quilt, I knit, I do crochet, but I haven't picked up crochet in a couple of years. I do have a spinning wheel. I haven't really tried it out much yet, so I don't know if you could consider that a hobby. I'm a big reader. I'm a big runner. And sometimes I swim. So, yeah, those are my hobbies. What is your favorite movie? I don't know. I like lots of movies. I love Jane Austen adaptations. I love Disney movies, Marvel, the whole Marvel franchise. I could watch all day, every day, again and again and again, and I do quite often when my husband is overseas. So, what is your favorite TV show? Hands down, Blacklist. And tomorrow there's supposed to be a huge reveal. I am recording this on Tuesday, the 14th, I think. It's a Tuesday, I know that much. And the last 2 episodes of the season are airing on Wednesdays, so I'm super excited. Favorite book? I have a couple, well, no, I have one favorite book, which is Les Mis by Victor Hugo. But then I have a couple of authors that are my favorite. My favorite classical author, Jane Austen. But more current day authors, James Rollins and Susanna Kearsley. I love the Sigma Force novels by James Rollins, and I cannot get my hands on them quick enough. And I love Susanna Kearsley's books, all of them. My favorites by her are probably Mariana and The Winter Sea. Favorite music. I'm a big college jam band girl. I don't really like today's music. I like the music of my youth. My Sirius XM in my car. I have pop rocks on there. I have Lithium, Octane, the Dave Mathews Station, Garth Brooks, Y2K Country. And if you are familiar with music in the DC area at all, my one station, FM station, is DC 101. I really don't like today's music. It doesn't appeal to me. And the last question is one word. What one word would best describe you? A little bit awkward. Awkward. That's okay. That's me, my authentic self. So yeah, next section. I didn't want to talk too much before I actually get into actual stitching and showing you stuff. So if it's brief, it's brief. If it's too long, scooch on by. So I'm going to get right into whips, what I'm working on. I decided to, since this is my first episode, start with what I've been doing in June. It's June. Because in May, I did Mayfly May. And I, instead of doing one project a day, I started one project a week. And then I had a separate, you might hear one of the big girls walking, sorry. And then I had a separate older project that I worked on the weekends. So I kind of decided to stick with that trend for June, now new projects, both ongoing projects. But I like the 1 week thing. So that's what I'm doing. And I realized the project I'm working on this week is all the way over there. So I'm gonna grab that real quick while Gaskell barks. Hang tight. Sorry about that, and hopefully I can paste that together. Okay, we were talking about whips, and I was going to start showing them to you, and if you hear glurging, that's Gaskell drinking water. She's a St. Bernard. They're very loud when they drink. I apologize. It's my life. So starting out, I'm going to start with the Serendipity Sow stitch along from Peck Quarter Shop. I had been staying where's Joni? I've been keeping up until May started, and then, you know, I had the Mayfly May, and so this kind of got put on the back burner. In the first week of June, I decided to pull it back out and try to catch back up. I did not catch all the way up, and I believe today or yesterday they released the last section, I think. I don't know. They released another section. So now I'm even farther behind. That's okay. I'll get to it when I get to it. So this is Serendipity, with my string hanging out all over, because I'm not very good at keeping track of that stuff. I don't lose stitch minders. I'm not gonna take stuff out and iron it to show it. That's not really me. Whatever. So like I said, this is the Serendipity stitch along from Fat Quarter Shop. It's a free pattern, but they do suggest giving a donation. I believe they're raising money for Make-A-Wish, the Make-A-Wish chapter based in Dallas, Texas, something like that. Something like that. It's all on their website and their blog. So when I ordered it, I ordered the Weeks Dye Work floss kit, and I ordered the 18, 16, 14 count Navy Ada. So I'm doing the called for colors, nothing special. I kept on track the first 2 weeks, and then you know, I was slowly working on this, and then last week I got all of this, and this, and I think I might have to do those last little bits. But so this is Serendipity Sal. I don't know when I'm going to get to it again, but it's on the back burner for now. The next thing I have been working on, I have a story for you. I love Liz Mathews. I love her patterns. And if I'm not keeping eye contact, I'm sorry, I'm trying to grab, and I'm still getting used to this, so go with the flow, right? So, I love Liz Mathews. I love her patterns. I am also an Oregon Trail generation girl, and I love Hocus Pocus. So when I saw this, I had to have it. However, the coloring, it just seemed kind of boring to me, and it's Hocus Pocus. It's Halloween. Halloween should have bright oranges and purples and greens and blacks and all the fun spooky colors. So I had an idea that I wanted to achieve with this, and if you've seen Hocus Pocus, think Winifred Sanderson and her dress. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I say I'm a lot, I'm really sorry. Anyhow, what I did was I ordered a couple different fabrics from Be Stitch Me, and the fabrics were delicious. Unfortunately, user error, I did not pay attention to either, well, no, not either, but both the pictures that she had up of how different fabrics dye up and the notes she posts about it. So I ordered pumpkin pie, and I ordered witch's brew. And when they showed up, they were both amazing, and I couldn't use either of them. Well, I did wind up using pumpkin pie for something else. And I will show you that sometime, and it is wonderful for that. But I really tried to make witch's brew work. You know, I wanted the green background and the purple words. So, like I said, think Winifred Sanderson's dress. This is witch's brew. It just seems more, not more anything, just not what I needed. And so, I bought lots of floss to try to make it work. I bought at my local yarn and cross-stitch store, Needle in the Haymarket, these two Gentle Arts, Orange Marmalade and Grape Fizz. They're cute, but it wasn't what I was looking for. So for my birthday at the end of April, I went up to Stitcher's Attic, something like that, in Maryland. And I looked for something to go with this. I wasn't really finding anything. However, my friend found this. I think that's kind of showing up. It's almost a blacky, cool purple. I don't know who it's by. They knew it was called Monster Mash. And when I've been looking online, I picture this plus had something similar. So I think it might be that, because they had a lot of Picture This Plus there. So I bought it. It's a fat quarter. And my friend really liked these two. And again, it's cute, but it just wasn't quite what I wanted. When I want something, I'm very specific about it. So I bought them, and I brought them home. I looked at this, and okay, again, cute, but not what I wanted. So I thought maybe a different color, and I pulled in, woo! I pulled in the Gentle Art Burnt Orange, I had an extra skein from another project, and so I like it. I think I have an idea for this combination. I'll play around with it. So what I did next was from an online Etsy store. Oh, you can see Gaskell's head. Say hello, Mama. Hello. No, back. I ordered 4 dinky dies from an online Etsy shop. I think it's Fad something or other, FAD something. I'll link it below. So I ordered Orchid. Didn't really show up true to color. I don't know. Jack-o'-lantern, which is just a really nice Halloween-y orange in general. And Razzleberry. It's as bright as it looks on screen. And then the 4th one, I actually wound up using with what I went with, and it's called Claremont. And if you've read or watched Discovery of Witches, which I do and did, the Claremont just kind of made me laugh. But again, they just weren't what I wanted. So I did something that you probably shouldn't do with nice, beautiful fabric that you bought. I cut a little bit out. I tried to tea dye it. No. I was like, well, looking through all these YouTube videos, I saw people RIT dyeing. Well, you know, worst case scenario. And I went and I got RIT dye, and I dyed a little square, and it looked more like what I wanted. So I was like, okay, this could work. And so I just decided to go for it, and I cut out the size that I needed from Stitch Me fabric, and I dyed it. I literally just threw some emerald, some apple green, and some bright yellow in there, and just kept adding until it was kind of the greenish that I wanted. Now remember, I said think Winifred Sanderson's dress, right? Hello, Winifred. So this purple isn't really, it's showing up as more of a blue, but it is a Winifred Sanderson dress purple, and it is amazing. When I finish, I want to just do like a really big, like black ornate frame. So I'll see what I can find just as ready-made frames, and if I can't find what I want, then I will have one made for me. So I'm doing one strand over 2, and it was an 18 count Aida, and it's Aida Opal, so you can see the shiny. It's so pretty. I'm in love with it. So in love with it. Now, I have Gaskell slobber in my notes. Sorry. I don't know, I'm apologizing to you, you can't see. Anyhow, the 3rd piece that I've been working on for June, I've been working on my weekends. I've wanted to have so much more done of it by now. I did start it for Mayfly May. Unfortunately, that was the week that I got all of the migraine. And then on my weekends, the other weekend, one whole night, we were out at the fire pit, and I stitch a lot at nights. So there was one night gone. And then last weekend, I walked right into a shelf, and I now have a little scab here, but I was laid up the whole next day in pain. So there went another day. And wanting to make a whole bunch of headway on this next pattern is leading me to an idea that I have for my July stitching. So without further ado, I'm stitching the Dutch sampler, and like the big one, not just, you know, one of the small ones of the collection, but the big one by Liz Mathews. Remember when I said I love Liz Mathews? So I'm stitching it with all the called for flosses, the NPI, not the DMC. I decided to really spoil myself on this. So pretty. My husband bought me the pattern and the fabric for my birthday. And then when I went up to the stitching store with my friend, this is stuck in here, for my birthday, I got the flosses. And without further ado, this is what you have for 1 week and a few other weekends worth of stitching. Not a lot. So I kind of got that part done and that part done in May, that 1 week. And then that's taken me 2 weekends. So it's very pretty. NPI floss is like butter to stitch with. I'm going to try not to make a habit of it because I don't want to be spending more money than I have to. I'd like to try to be financially, fiscally responsible, and buying a whole bunch of new silk floss for every single project might not be the key to that. But for this, it is totally worth it. So those are the 3 that I've worked on so far for June. No, I did work on this one last night. So this week, since it's Monday, and it's a new week, this is one I've been working on for quite a few years now. And my goal is to finish it this week. If I don't finish it this week, it's just gonna carry on into next week. But this is the Christmas Celebration Sampler from Frosted Pumpkin. I should be farther along in this, but when my husband was gone last time, I was stitching this in the morning. It was during COVID. My son was home from school. We were actually homeschooling him, so we could start later in the day after we talked to Daddy. So I'd sit there stitching, no rush while we talk. Well, I'm stitching the border, boom, boom, right? And then instead of just going down, what did Joni do? I flipped it. And when I came to this corner, so up here you had, you know, the stitches going, and which direction do you shoot? This way, okay, the right direction. And then these, we're not going the same direction. Some people wouldn't notice this. Some people would say, oh, it's character, blah, blah, blah. Me, no, I had to rip it all out. So I ripped it back up to, you know, here and started again. So all I have left is this little bit, and I think she needs ice skates backstitched. I need to backstitch some of the minimal backstitching. So I don't know what fabric this is on. I started this, I think my kid was 3 or 4, because that's where the cutesy wootsy came in. So it's been a few years now. And this was older fabric at the time, left over from something I'd stitched to my mom. So, I don't know, maybe like a 28 Lugana or something. It feels like it might be a Lugana. But yeah, so Christmas Celebration Sampler by Frosted Pumpkin. I'm using all of the called for colors. And hopefully the next time I record, this will be a finished project for you. And then once it's finished, I don't know that I'm going to get it custom framed. It's even size all the way around, so I figure I can get a square frame that'll fit in. I'd like a bright red one because it's Christmas and I love bright Christmas reds. So I think that would be super cute. Okay, so that's what I'm stitching on this week. Next week, I am going to be picking back up Peck by Plum Street Samplers. I started this the last few days of Mayfly May because I hadn't made plans for it and I was just tuckered out from everything else I've been stitching that month. So since I hadn't planned on starting this, I literally went and grabbed stuff that I had around my house. So I think there's 2 flosses in there that are called for, and those flosses are like maybe some 5 stitches each. Whoops. I do like the colors that I'm using though. And again, this is a really old fabric, so I don't know what fabric it is. So here's what I have so far. Actively working on that, and little reds around here. This is stitched 1/2, so I'm assuming maybe it's like a 38? No, not 38. 38? 28? 38, that's what I'm thinking of. Because I did, if you look up here, you can see I tried out some stitching. This was a 2, and it just seemed too bulky for me, and you really had to work at it. So I just went 1/2. As for the flosses that I used, Aztec Red, Blackboard is what I'm using on the chickens. Brown Hen, I don't know what Brown Hen's being subbed for. Dungarees is being subbed for the blue tartan. I have Hunter, Sea Spray, Queen Bee, which is called for, White Lightning, which is going to be the middle chicken. Then I have Whitewash. I think this might be called for, and Eagle Gold. Maybe this is called for. I don't know. But so they're pretty together. So I think I chose well. And choosing colors that are not called for is not my forte. I am a rule follower. So following the rules and what's called for makes me happy. So yes, that's hem peck. I'm going to do that next week. Now, after next week already, at the end of June, we are going on vacation to Houston to visit my friend and check out the area because we're thinking about relocating. And so I've already put together what I plan on bringing with me, aside from hen peck. If that's not finished next week, then I'm going to bring that with as well. But the lovely, other good one of Punky Pearls. It's so pretty. I love it. Now, I did pay her, but I chose from my own fabrics and sent them to her, and she made it for me, and it's amazing. So I packed up stuff that I'm going to be bringing in here. So look at that. That's English paper piecing. And like my little accessories. And I'm just going to bring one hoop with me. So I can just switch it out as I go along. So the first project I'm bringing with me is Autumn Skies from Hands On Design. I'm stitching that. I kind of either want to have my husband cut out like a little block that way. Can make a little sit up block, you know, cute thing. Or I'm going to turn it into a pillow. Again, I think this might be Lugana. I don't know what size it is, and like I've said a couple times, this is an old fabric too. It's upside down. So this is what I have now. I jump around a lot, both on stitching projects and within stitching projects. I'm ADHD, like diagnosed, not just, you know, but I am ADHD, so that kind of plays out that way. It works for me though, and it keeps me engaged. So that's what I have now. I'm thinking, since we're gonna be there for like a week and a half, and we're driving, I don't fly, so we're driving, there will be plenty of time to finish this. I am doing it with just the called for DMCs, so nothing special. So there's that, and then the other project that I have in here is Liberty Lane by Country Cottage Needleworks. I first saw this when Leanne from Small Town Stitches was doing this as a giveaway. I fell in love with it. So I ordered it from Fat Quarter Shop, and I ordered the hand-dyed, over-dyed flosses that it called for, and the fabric. Let me check. I have this. So I write stuff down most of the time when I remember it. I don't always remember it. But okay, so I ordered the 28 count light mocha cashel. Cashel? Cashel? I don't know. So this is what I have so far. I did have a tree up here, but I didn't stitch right and it was messed up. So I yanked it back out. And I'd like to think that I can make a lot of progress on this. I don't think I'll finish it, but that's okay. And I figured this was a good one to bring since we're gonna be there for the 4th of July, and that'd be fun. And it's got a bigger count on the linen, 28 versus 40. So it should be easy enough for me to see, you know, whatever lighting, when we're in the car. You know what I mean. So here's this. So these were the only two hand-dyed that called for. Rhubarb and Liberty from the Gentle Arts. And then these DMCs. And I bobbinate most of my DMCs. I've looked at other ways to store them, and I like what I like, and I like what I start with. So I'll stay in that way for a while. And then here I have some English paper piecing that I'm doing. I have an old wall hanging I started years ago. And so I have a couple more of these to put into the little baggies for the flowers that they're going to make. And then I'll shove them in there. And the fabric is from Maureen Cracknell's original line with Art Gallery fabric, Wild and Free. So it's just a whole bunch of these side by side and nothing special. But it was my first foray into English paper piecing, and it's still unfinished. And then just little tidbits that I need to bring with me. So that's for what I'm stitching and what's going on this month. I wanted to talk to you guys about haul, but before I get into that, I want to tell you, obviously I have 2 Liz Mathews projects going on. And, well no, I don't have 2, but I showed you 2 of the 3 that I have going on just this podcast. I'm also doing the butterfly cloche that she released at Expo. I bought all 4 of the patterns that she released at Expo, and I have more to show you. I love Liz Mathews. But because I have 3 for patterns going on, I'm thinking after we get back in July about making it, instead of, you know, Jolly July, Liz Mathews July. I don't know if I'll make the Dutch Sampler my focus piece and do Hocus Pocus on a weekend, the butterfly cloche on a weekend, or if I'll just do 1 week each. But I feel like every single time I pick up Dutch Sampler, something happens. So I want to be able to make some real good headway in it. Now, I'm afraid if I make my focus piece for the month, I'm just gonna have a really bad month. If I make it for a week, a really bad week. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment below. Oh no. If this gets enough videos, or watches, maybe you guys can, maybe I can put up a vote. Who knows, we'll get there when we get there, right? So that's my idea for July. And then August, I'm doing fall-time Halloween-y stitching. I have Away We Ride. I have, that's one of my dogs. A Halloween piece from Purple Peppermint. It's like a backstitch piece. I don't know if I have another Halloween, but I have lots of little Halloween smalls that I want, like the raccoons I go with hen peck, and I got another pumpkin piece that I will show you in haul. So that's my idea for August and September. I don't know what I'm doing in September. I think my kid goes back to school in August, so in September, my kid will be in school. Boop, boop. Anyways, back to haul. Okay. Hang on to your hats, kids. So the first thing I have to show from haul is some R&R reproduction fabric. It's a fat quarter. In the pink 32 count that I got from a local shop, Needles in the Haymarket. And I got it to go with this blue flower pattern that I got. I don't remember what Etsy shop it was. No, it was the same Fad, F-A-D, whatever that I got the Dinky Dies from. Like I said, I'll link it. It's so cute. I've never done a drum. It would be fun to check out. And this calls for 40 count, but it's 231 wide by 58 high. So it's not gonna be like a massive drum on a 32, but yeah, it'll be a decent size bigger. And so I was thinking I can probably stick this down in my sewing area when it's done. So I got that. I love it. And then this week, I think I'm reading the proper stitcher's mind because she's been working on hen peck. I've been working on hen peck. In her last video, she was talking about a quilt that she's making with the Mackinac Island, whatever fabric line from Moda. I have a whole bunch of that fabric with a very specific quilt in mind. Now I want to work on it. And she talked about 2 patterns that she got of Liz Mathews. So Annie, you have good taste. My Home in the Garden. It's so pretty. Like all of Liz Mathews stuff. And the Joy to the World. I don't think I'm gonna stitch them all, but I love this one and the colors, and it's so pretty. Like everything she does is just glorious. So I got that. And then I got, this is by Cottage Garden Sampling. Cottage Garden Samplings. Woo. Forever and Ever. And I wanted this for a while. Because, see, my husband and I, one of us will be like, I love you. And the other will be like, I love you. And the other will be like, forever and ever. And the other one will be like, and ever and ever. And our Enzo rings that we have, you know, like the silicone inside, it has forever and ever and ever and ever engraved on them both. So I want this one for us. And then my husband. And then last pattern I got is from the Scarlet House, Penny Pumpkin. It's super cute. I love pumpkins at Halloween time, Thanksgiving time. If a 3-year-old can have a special interest, my son's, no, he wasn't even 3. I think he was like 2, going on 3. I don't know. But there was a year where pumpkins were his special interest. He was also obsessed with Curious George then, so I think he was like 2.5. But so, yeah, I saw this and I had to have it. So, and then, and those patterns, the Scarlet House, the Cottage Garden, and the Liz Mathews, that all came from Hollis Hands Creates, and her shop is on Etsy. And then I also got, I don't even remember what this is now. Oh, it's there's a tag in here. Well, hopefully that's tells me what this is. Let's find out, kids. Yep. Very Country Mocha 36 count. I don't know if it had a brand or if Very Country is brand or whatever, but that's that. It's slightly modeled. It's a very nice light modeling. So I can use it for a good variety of things. I'm gonna need that quilt, boo boo. So, my dog's laying on a quilt. I'm gonna show you. Last two things are easy quilts from pre-cut fabrics. I buy a lot of pre-cuts, and I don't always know what to do with them. There's a couple quilts in here that I'm like, yes, 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 and yes. And one of the quilts I want to show you real quick is that quilt. I was thinking of doing it with All Hallows Eve fabrics from Fig Tree & Co. That's her Halloween line from last year. So this is red, grays, creams, and blacks. Well, All Hallows Eve is oranges, grays, blacks, and whites. So I think it can really work. And that is a fat quarter pattern. And I have a fat quarter bundle and a lot of excess, like just yardage that I got from it in case I needed it. And then I got Simple Friendships 2 by Kim Deal. Reproduction stuff like this isn't really my wheelhouse, but I saw some Kim Deal, fabric bundles on Etsy lately, and I was like, oh, that's actually really pretty. And so when I saw this at my local quilt shop, Susie's Quilts in Manassas, I took a gander at it, and I really like a lot of the patterns. And they're all more like wall hangings. Like, I don't know how much is that? 32 inches. But you can always add more squares. You can upsize the squares, which I figured I would probably do. There's one here that I really want to show you. This one is 38 by 38. But I figure I can probably upsize those squares fairly well. And I have a couple Corey Yoder lines, because I love Corey Yoder, that I could do with this, and then just, you know, make that beigey background color Motabella Sola 200. So that was my plan for those. So that's all for this week. I'm going to start talking about quilting real quick. So if you're not interested in quilting, this is a good time to head out. I'd love it if you'd give me a thumbs up, and I'd really love it if you'd subscribe. If you don't, I totally understand too. But I haven't decided whether I'm going to do this every week or every other week. If you're going to head out now, or if you head out later and you want to tell me whether you prefer longer videos, longer apart, or shorter videos with less time in between, go ahead and leave that. I haven't really planned one way or another yet. So if you're not sticking around for quilting, I hope you have an amazing week and get some time in for yourself and do stuff that you love. And I'll talk to you soon. Now, quilting, I was going to show you 3 projects, but I just realized one of them is in the dryer, but I can tell you about that. And I have set up an Instagram page for the channel specifically, and you can see, a picture of something that happened that I will tell you about. But first, in addition to machine quilting, I do English paper piecing, and I am a Liberty fanatic. Now, there is a shop in Australia called the Strawberry Thief, and I stalk her Instagram. And they've been posting pictures over the past while of this 2-inch hexie quilt, like 2-inch hexies in a quilt. And so I decided I had to get in on that. So for my birthday and Mother's Day, a lot of Liberty fabrics were ordered. I'll probably need to order more, but I've so far, I'm showing you the same ones, I pick up more, basted 54 of these 2-inch hexies. Now, I make the templates on my own, on my Cricut. I don't know where, I've already made one flower, and they do fit well together. I'll need to find and show you. So I make the hexies on my Cricut to keep the cost of the templates down. And then I trace and cut and trace and cut and trace and cut. They had a template for the size that you need to trace with a 3/8 inch outseam, whatever, on the Strawberry Thief, their website. So I ordered that too. So far I've gotten fabric from them, from duckdeli.com, and from an Etsy shop called Zuzu Crafts. And she's in Poland. It's really fun. It's really cathartic. This is going to be a very long-term project. I'm thinking 3 or 4 years. So there's that. If you hear banging around, that is my child. Now, let me. Okay, I'm back. My kid came down here. You probably heard me talking to him. Sorry about that. So the second quilt I wanted to show you is a very special quilt that's going to a mom at church. She lost a child at the, sorry, that's my dog, very beginning of the pandemic. And when I say she lost her child, I mean she lost her child, 3 or 4 year old little girl. So it was hard for her, and I believe that when life gets rough, we just need to wrap up in a little bit of a hug, and a little bit of a blanket. So I made this for her. I used the, what did I use? The heart block from Cluck Cluck Sew. The block is a free pattern. And I made this using mostly art gallery fabrics from the Ballerina Fusion line and a few others that I pulled in. Like that's not from the Ballerina Fusion line. And then the sashing, whatever this stuff is in between, is Essex linen. It's a metallic linen, and I believe the color was opal. Yeah, because the opal has like the sheen that's not like silver or gold. It's all sorts of different colors. So that's a fairly decent sized quilt. I just need to bind it, and then I will have it done for her. The binding is this, just one of the art gallery fabric lines. So I should be able to do that. This may be the last time you see this one, first and last, because I will hopefully get it done and give it to her on Saturday when I go to church. The third quilt that I was going to show you is a log cabin quilt. And I used Michael Miller fabrics from Sarah Jane's line Magic. They're older now. But I did a bunch of log cabin squares, and then I forget, the Lone Star, whatever, just one big Lone Star out of them. And when I went to wash it today to make it all nice and scrunchy, some of the fabrics bled. And I cried. And I looked online. I talked to some gals in a quilting group that I'm on Facebook, and overall the suggestion was, I forget what they told me to buy. I ordered it on Amazon. It won't be here for a few days though. So for this, another suggestion was get the water in the tub as hot as you can, put in a whole bunch of Dawn dish soap, and let it soak for 12 hours. I let it soak for a few hours, and the color was already beginning to come out. Thank goodness. So I think we're saved. But I used color catchers. I used 4 for a 50-inch quilt, and it still bled. So I don't know if I will have it to show you next time, but I put a picture of the whoopsie and it in the tub up on my Instagram account, so you can see that, and once it's dry and squishy again and everything's good, I will take a bigger picture of it to show you. And that quilt I made for my cousin's daughter. So once it's all good, it's getting shipped up to Minnesota. So yeah, that is, oh, and real quick, I have a couple of other quilts that I'm working on. One is just like a scrap quilt that I'm pulling like 2.5-inch squares from to make, and then I'm working on the vintage lace quilt with our gallery fabrics, and Meadowland quilt, which I'm using, I forget the fabric line name, but again, our gallery fabrics with Essex linen, and it's the Halloween line from last year. I think it's Sweet and Spooky, and I think they might have revamped it this year to make it sweet and spookier. It's super cute though. So as I work more on those, I will show them to you, but I don't see a need to show you what I haven't actually been touching recently. So that's it for now. Hopefully I will have more quilting to show you next week, a good amount of stitching. If there's anything you're interested in hearing about, whether it's the whole process of what I'm doing with a 2-inch hexie blanket, or my devotion and fangirldom to Liz Mathews, I don't know. Let me know. Any comments, questions, stick down below. I do have an email address that I will stick in the comments. I will try to put everything that I talked about, not in the comments, but you know, put it down below, and like, I guess it's a summary or something. And my Instagram is Joni Loves Stitching. I do have a personal Instagram account, but it's easier to just keep everything for this separate. So that is that. If you stuck around the whole time, thank you. Hopefully it wasn't too awkward. If I was, I'm sorry, but authentic me, right? And let me know whether you prefer videos 1 or 2 weeks apart, and I will take that into consideration when I go forward with this. Like it, thumbs up if you can, please, and subscribe if you want. And that's my dog barking, saying goodbye because it's time to go. Bye, friends.